Good afternoon or good evening, everyone, depending on where you're joining us from. And welcome to today's Lovely Skin Masterclass series featuring PCA Skin, where we're going to learn a little bit about peptides. My name is Chrissy, and I will be your moderator for this session. Before we get started, I just have a couple of call outs to share with everyone. First of all, the session is being recorded and will be made available for future viewing shortly after the presentation is over. We have about a 45-minute presentation for you this evening, followed with 10 to 15 minutes worth of question and answer at the end of the broadcast. And we want to hear from you. So if you have questions throughout tonight's class, go ahead and use the Q&A widget in the bottom of your screen to answer those questions. Ask those questions, I'm so sorry. We have moderators from both the PCA side and the Lovely Skin side waiting to answer your questions. There may be some questions that they think would be great information for the entire group to learn. And if that's the case, they'll let you know, and they'll also let you know that we're going to be sharing your question and answering it live during that Q&A session towards the end of the broadcast. Tonight, we have Kelly Harp, who is a regional educator with PCA Skin, joining us. She has been an esthetician for over 12 years, working in multiple different aesthetic fields. Kelly resides in Chicago, Illinois, where she worked for many years at Northwestern Memorial Hospital, working alongside some of the top dermatologists in the country. She has won numerous awards, including Educator of the Year in 2021, and is passionate about transforming people's lives. She is well known for treating hyperpigmentation, melasma, and acne using multiple different treatments and modalities. When she's not treating skin, Kelly likes to be home with her French bulldog, Jax. And someday I'd really like to meet Jax too. Kelly, welcome.
Thank you everyone so much for having me. I'm sure I like to call him Baby Jax would be happy to meet you, Chrissy. I'm so excited to be here with all of you today. Once again, my name is Kelly Harp. I am a regional educator with PCA Skin. And so I'm so excited to be here. I'm going to go ahead, share my screen really quickly. Today, we're really going to talk about peptides and breakthrough innovation, especially here at PCA. We've had some really amazing breakthrough innovation this year. So I'm so excited to come here and talk everything peptides within PCA and outside of PCA as well. So thank you so much for having me. First thing we're going to do, we're going to talk about what we're going to be here to learn about. We're going to learn how peptides benefit the skin. What exactly are peptides? And how our Exlinea Pro, which is our newest product innovation within PCA, all about those peptides in there and how it works more effectively on our skin to really give us all those benefits that we look forward to within our peptides. So the main thing is we're talking about ingredients, peptide ingredients within formulations. So when we talk about formulations, you know, a lot of science goes into all of those professional grade skincare products and making sure that we have efficacious levels of those peptides and things like that within our skincare brands. First, before we get started, I would really love to take a quick poll question. I think it'll really help us all get familiar with peptides. So our first poll question is, do you know what a peptide is? First, you're going to either say no, I think so, or yes, but I would love to learn more. So if you guys can please, it should have popped up on your screen. If you can answer that poll question, that would be great for us to have that information. So we'll give you just a few minutes or seconds, I should say, to answer this poll question for us. It is single choice, so whichever one you feel is the most appropriate for you, please take that. So 50% of you actually said, no, you don't know what a peptide is. Well, it's great that you're tuning in today. 14%, I think so, and 36% yes, but I would love to learn more. So thank you so much for following along with our poll question. So our main thing we're going to cover next is, my screen would love to work. There we go. What are peptides? Peptides are a chain of amino acids. Grow larger, they become proteins. Amino acids are the building blocks of proteins. Peptides serve as the building blocks for collagen, elastin fibers, and keratin. I always love to talk about Jurassic Park, especially since there was a new one just out. If you remember the first Jurassic Park movie, you saw the dino DNA and how they refilled it with the frog DNA. That was literally an amino acid structure of proteins that we saw. So those amino acids were the broken ones that they refilled in with the frog DNA. Way to have a blast from the past, but it really makes sense when you think of it that way. It's something that we all can relate to, is that movie. If you haven't seen it, please go and watch it. But it really kind of breaks down that barrier of how are we talking about proteins, especially with our patients. I can't tell you, or our consumers, how many times I talk about Jurassic Park to them because everybody remembers that scene so well. But what are peptides? So they are a chain of those amino acids that mimic human protein fragments. So we have dipeptides, tripeptides, hexapeptides, and that really means how many of those amino acid chains are on that type of peptide. So when we talk about those peptides today, and it kind of goes back to that Greek letters and Latin letters when we talk about the words on how many actual chains are on that peptide. So that's kind of what mimics those human protein fragments. But there's several different categories of peptides based on their mode of action. In skincare, we have 4 main categories. The 4 main categories are those signal peptides, carrier peptides, enzyme inhibition peptides, and neurotransmitter peptides. And all of them work differently in different formulations. So that's why it's important to understand those 4 main ones and which ones you want to use for which skin conditions that we're treating at home or in our treatment room. So signal peptides, they're designed to create a biological response. So that's what's creating collagen, elastin, and other protein formation. So that's going to create that collagen synthesis that we all want as we get more mature and older in age. We want to, create healthy peptides. We want to create healthy collagen and elastin formation. Where our carrier peptides, those are designed to carry necessary elements to the affected sites. So there is a carrier peptide. So when we talk about delivery systems within our skincare products, and we talk about how do we get things in through the lipid barrier and into our skin, there are different peptides that will actually help deliver those ingredients to those lower portions of our epidermis, into that epidermal dermal junction, and some even into the dermis. So that way we can treat multiple different layers of the skin. I think one of the main things when we talk about some professional grade skincare products compared to some OTC skincare products, that is the biggest difference, is how are we getting these ingredients into the skin? How are we getting them deeper into the skin to actually create the change that we want to see take place within the skin? But then we have our enzyme inhibitor peptides. So those work to slow down that skin's natural breakdown of collagen. So some of them are silk peptides. Not only do they slow down that skin's natural breakdown, but it also has antioxidant properties and anti-inflammatory properties. Our rice peptides also have antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties, but they're an MMPI, a matrix melanoprotease inhibitor, and it has some potential melanogenic inhibition. We also have soy peptides. Soy peptides are great at potentially protecting that photo-damaged skin and has those antioxidant properties. So not only are we helping to slow down the breakdown of our collagen, but we're also having other benefits to some of these peptides that are really going to help protect and stop pigmentation from forming, or help to lighten up some of that current pigmentation in our skin with those antioxidants fighting that free radical damage. I love anything that shoots multiple birds with one stone. I like to say, if I can have one ingredient that does multiple different things, my patients benefit more from them. But then we have our neurotransmitter peptides. So neuropeptides affect the nerve to muscle communication to help reduce and relax facial muscle contractions. So think of our injections. My forehead doesn't move very much because you can tell I get an injection of something. It somewhat mimics the effect of those injections, where it's slowing down, it affects that nerve to muscle communication. So we're going to talk a little bit more in depth about those neuropeptides, because that's really what PCA is really well known for, is our neuropeptides that we use throughout our skincare brand. So neurotransmitters is what triggers facial muscle contractions. The snare complex made up of natural proteins and facilitates the release of those neurotransmitters. The complete formation of the snare complex is required for the neurotransmitter to release. So think of it as if I was putting a barrier in between your nervous system, sending the signal to the muscle to contract. It can't get through. There's a barrier there. That is what happens when you have the actual injections. So neuropeptides, what you can kind of think that it does is putting fog in that area. So the signal can get through, but it needs to fight through the fog, which is going to reduce our muscle contraction. So that kind of is that snare complex. It's formed by 3 different proteins, our VAMP, SNAP25, and syntaxin. It mediates the release of those neurotransmitter from the neuron vesicles, which trigger the muscle contraction. So that's going through your nervous system, sending that signals for the muscle to contract. Destabilization of that snare complex formation reduces muscle contraction. So that fog, we're destabilizing that reaction from happening. Where SNAP25 is one of our natural proteins that help form that snare complex. Neuropeptides compete for that SNAP25's position in the snare complex, causing it to be destabilized. That's going to help to reduce that facial muscle contractions. So what does that mean? It means that neuropeptides help to inhibit the signaling that encourages the facial tension, which then of course results in our expression lines. So they reduce facial muscle contractions, improve the relaxation of the muscle contractions after that facial expressions. So peptides can also be synthesized to perform specific functions in the skin. So due to the hydrophilicity of peptides, they do not penetrate as easily into the skin on their own. So that's why here at PCA, what we did, the bigger the size of the molecule, we know it's harder for it to get through that lipid barrier and do its job that we're telling it to do. So what we did is we put a little highlight tail on the back end. So we always think of like a tadpole swimming through the water. We put a little tail on it so that tadpole can swim a little bit better and get through that lipid barrier a little bit easier. So that way we get more benefits from all of the peptides that we're putting in our products. So both of our big neuropeptides, we put that hydrophilic tail on the back end of them, as you can see on your screen in those 2 different molecular chains. So we want to talk about some commonly used peptides. When we're reading a bottle, we'll see a lot of these names, but we don't know exactly what they do inside that bottle. So exohexapeptide 8, also known as argireline, that is 6 amino acids that are going to relax that facial muscles that cause the repeated facial expression wrinkling. So that's a neuropeptide. We also have exohexapeptide 8 that's amplified. So that is our next generation of that exohexapeptide 8. So it's going to increase the ability to inhibit that snare complex formation because we put that hydrophilic tail on the back end. So you're going to have immediate and long-term reduction in visible expression lines caused by that repeated muscle movement. We also have exoxypeptide 3. So that's going to be 8 amino acids. That's going to help to reduce fine lines, wrinkles, smooth out the skin's texture, and increase that epidermal thickness. Dipeptide 2. Dipeptide 2 is going to consist of 2 amino acids. Improves that lymphatic circulation to remove toxins from the skin, which is super, super important, especially somebody that has a ton of oxidative stress. We want to really have detoxifying ingredients in there. So this peptide is going to be really efficacious in that. We also have our Palomar tripeptide 7. That's going to be 4 amino acids that improve skin firmness and elasticity. And please feel free to take a photo of this screen. I think it would be really beneficial so you can just go back and look at it really easily. I tend to take photos of everything when I'm in these kind of webinars. We also have our polytripeptide 38. So that's going to be 3 amino acids. Then that's going to increase specifically collagen 1, 3, and 4, hyaluronic acid, and that heat shock protein. So a really great protein, boost collagen, boost hyaluronic acid, and help with any heat damage. We have a polymer peptide 4 that is going to be 5 amino acid change, which is also going to increase collagen 1 and 4 and fibronectin. We have our polymer tripeptide 5 that's going to stimulate collagen production to strengthen the skin and minimize wrinkling. I really love this one for our sensitive rosacea prone patients because it's going to help strengthen that skin and prevent that breakdown that creates that rosacea, that condition. Polymer oligonucleotide stimulates collagen production. We all want collagen production. And then we have our tripeptide 7 and oligonucleotide polymer tripeptide 7. Blend of 2 separate kind of peptides that are both going to stimulate that extracellular matrix to reduce wrinkle activity. Copper peptides are very popular. They're going to stimulate collagen elastin. We're going to have one more poll question really quickly. So I want to know how many of us have used a peptide skin product with peptides before. It is a single choice, so you can answer no, but I can't wait to try one. I'm not sure, or yes, I love them. So I'll give you just a few short seconds to answer these questions. Here at PCA, we actually have 3 different skincare products that do have peptides in there. All right, so 26% said no, but I can't wait to try one. 22% said, I'm not sure. Don't worry, we're going to talk about all of them next. And 52% said, yes, I love them. That is such an amazing number. I'm so excited to hear so many of you have used our PCA products and really enjoy them. So our first product we're going to talk about that has peptides in them, but what's really important to understand the formulation as a whole when we talk about products. Yes, they have peptides in there, but what else is in there? You know, it's not just one ingredient that's going to create change in our skin. It's that whole formulation and how they synergistically work together to create that change that we want, depending on what skin condition we're trying to treat at any given time. So our first formulation we're going to talk about is our rejuvenating serum. I have a great little bottle of rejuvenating serum right here. This is actually our trial size. Rejuvenating serum is pretty thin, lightweight here. It absorbs very easily into the skin. But rejuvenating serum is full of epidermal growth factors, our EGs, and glutathione and grapefruit cell extract. I always love to say, if you don't think too hard about the name with PCA, you'll figure out what the product's trying to do. So with rejuvenating serum, think about skin that needs to be rejuvenated. It's got a little bit of damage, not a ton. We just need to rejuvenate it. Maybe it's that 20, 30-year-old that hasn't been the best with their skincare. They're really starting to see a change in their skin. They want to prevent any new aging from forming and help to correct some current damage that's there. That's our rejuvenating serum. It's going to help glow, radiant. It has got ingredients, the epidermal growth factors in there is going to repair damage, generates healthy skin tissue with our plant stem cell extracts that are going to protect those skin cells from future damage, which is what we really want to do. We want to rejuvenate and repair a little bit, but also stop new damage from forming. So that's what those plant stem cell extracts are going to do. So it's a potent antioxidant blend that's going to protect and keep our skin nice and healthy. It does come in that pretty amber bottle there. 1 pump of that product is plenty for full face use. I often get asked that question on how much product should I be using. 1 pump is plenty for full face use. And then we have our total strength serum. So total strength serum is pretty similar in color. It's a little bit more clear than the rejuvenating serum, but once again, absorbs very easily into the skin. 1 pump of the product is plenty for full face. And we have our polymer tripeptide 38. So if you remember from a few screens back, that's really going to help boost collagen and elastin. We also have some epidermal growth factors and glycosaminoglycans in there. So this is going to be full face peptide use, just like the rejuvenating serum. We want this full face. It's really going to strengthen the skin. So strengthens the skin structure, helps to reduce loss of elasticity, increase the collagen production. But once again, we have to talk about formulations as a whole. So we are combining those peptides and those epidermal growth factors to provide potent anti-aging formulation that stimulates 6 components of our extracellular matrix. So once again, if you don't think too hard about the product, you'll figure out what this is supposed to do. Total strength. Now my skin is damaged. I'm a little bit more mature, or I really didn't take care of my skin. I didn't wear my SPF. Please, everyone, wear your SPF. I didn't take care of my skin, and I really want to see some dramatic changes. That's going to be our total strength serum. That is going to be a little bit stronger than rejuvenating serum in the sense of boosting that collagen elasticity. Where rejuvenating serum has more antioxidants to prevent new damage from forming. So rejuvenating is going to be younger patient demographic, total strength. Now we need to repair that skin. That's going to be our more mature patient demographic. Hopefully that makes sense. But what we're so when we're talking about those comparisons, both of them have the Neuropeptide 51, but total strength has that tripeptide 38. Total strength also has silymarin. Silymarin's really well known within the PCA family because it's a super strong anti-inflammatory antioxidant protections with our vitamin E, hyaluronic acid, and glycerin. Where rejuvenating serum is going to have more of those anti-aging products like glutathione, grapefruit cell extract, EGCGs, and that vitamin E in there. So how to choose? Which corrective serum is going to offer better hydration? Which corrective serum is going to have 6 components? And which corrective serum has more potent blend of antioxidants? So rejuvenating serum is going to have more potent blend of antioxidants. The 6 components of the extracellular matrix is going to be our total strength serum. And the total strength serum has more of that hydrating benefits like that glycerin and hyaluronic acid. So hopefully that answered those 3 questions on the screen for you. But then we have Exlinea Pro. Some of our long-term PCA lovers on this call might remember Exlinea, which came in this amber bottle. A few months ago in 2020, we released our Exlinea Pro. And you'll notice that PCA has been doing that. We keep coming out with Pigment Gel Pro and Exlinea Pro. So we're taking those products that were made back in the 1990s. Obviously, technology has gotten much better, and we're looking at ways to be innovative with those new skincare products while still delivering the efficacious results that PCA is known for. So Exlinea Pro is going to deliver immediate long-term reduction of visible expression lines caused by that repeated muscle movement. Going to lift, tighten, firm for that more defined facial contours, a little bit of contouring. Strengthens the skin by improving that epidermal thickness, reduces skin roughness for a smooth skin texture while boosting that hydration and moisture retention that our more mature patient demographic is very concerned about. So we have breakthrough technology built into our Exlinea Pro. We have neuropeptides in there, proteins, amino acids, and marine extracts. We take them at efficacious, proven levels of each ingredient that's going to visibly improve the appearance of our expression lines, skin roughness, elasticity, and of course, boosting hydration while doing all of those other fun, exciting things. So the neuropeptides that we have put in our Peptide Pro complex, our Exlinea Pro, is going to be that SNAP8 peptide we talked about before, and Exlinea 3, which is our arginine amplified peptide, and exohexapeptide 8. So lifting, tightening, and firming, the other supporting ingredients that make formulations as a whole really important. We have a polysaccharide amino acid blend that is a bunch of wheat protein, soy protein. We have Carnegie extract in there. We have our soybean ferment extract in there. So that's from marine sponge and soybean. But we have the exohexapeptide 3. So that modulates the release of the neurotransmitters by reducing the formation of that snare complex. So the benefits of that: reduces the appearance of fine lines or wrinkles. It also has been shown to smooth out skin roughness and increase that epidermal thickness. As we age, that epidermis thins out. That's why I always think of my grandmother cooking in her kitchen. She would bruise so easily. She would barely knock the kitchen counter and she'd have a big bruise, or her skin would actually break. That's because that epidermis was paper thin. So it's so important to help thicken that epidermis while creating and reducing the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles. Exylhexapeptide 8. Now we have the amplified version in here, so it's going to be very efficacious in regulating the nerve to muscle movement behind the expression lines. So once again, think of that fog. Exylhexapeptide 8 is creating that fog. It's not completely severing that snare complex formation. It's just competing for that SNAP25 to create that muscle movement. So that's going to help reduce the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles, and shown to improve that muscle relaxation. So even when we're not moving, to help smooth out those fine lines and wrinkles. We did do an in vitro and in vivo study, 2 separate studies on this one, and you can see that it's that all-in-one efficacy. It's gonna, in vitro, it's shown to interact and create that muscle relaxation. So it's gonna recover aging in muscle, tissue, our dermis and our epidermis. Well, our in vivo study showed that it's going to improve the appearance of expression lines. It reduces the actual feel of the expressions, and forget about the wrinkles. It is a multi-level improvement in tissue functionality. Oops, sorry, too fast. So that we really want to do those neuropeptides versus those modulators. Those, we call them neuromodulators because there's multiple different ones out there, right? Some of the brand names we know is Botox, Dysport, Xeomin, all of those, they're all neuromodulators. So they're going to inhibit the snare complex formation. That is an effective strategy to reduce that neurotransmitter release and thus modulating the muscle contraction. So botulism neurotoxins cleave the snare proteins, where our peptides compete with the snare protein. So that's why you'll still have a little bit of muscle movement. It is irreversible inhibition of the snare complex, those neurotoxins. So our injections, it's irreversible until it wears off, where our peptides that we use in skincare products are definitely reversible and control the inhibition of that complex. Botulism neurotoxins, muscle paralysis, and adverse side effects. I don't know if anybody on the call has ever had a droopy eyelid. I have one right now. So it goes to show you there are side effects. But our peptides, you don't have an associated side effects. You're not going to have an uneven deposit of your injectable anywhere on your face. So that way you don't have that issues moving forward. We did a ton of clinical trials on our Exlinea Pro. We're super excited to share that data with you. So some of Exlinea Pro's peptide serums, those clinical study results. This is showing the redensifying effect, so that thickening of the epidermis. There's 3 screens in front of you. We have an untreated skin sample along with a competitor product and our Exlinea Pro peptide serum. So you can see that the Exlinea Pro peptide serum increased that epidermal thickness by 47.8% compared to untreated skin after only 6 days of twice daily use. All of our studies, we did use the product twice daily. So on the next few slides, if that is a question, it is twice daily use, AM and PM. Where this is actually one of my favorite photos from this study. This was Exlinea peptide serum to show the depth of fine lines and wrinkles. So we have 3 images in front of you. One was an untreated, a competitor product treatment, and our Exlinea Pro. So our Exlinea Pro peptide serum was applied twice daily over 3 days. So this is only 3 days of the study. It reduced microfolds by 84.2% after only 3 days twice daily use, which is extremely impressive. Our competitor product reduced microfolds by 36.1% after 3 days use. And that really goes to show that hydrophilic tail, the tadpole on the back end of that peptide, how much more efficaciously it can get through that lipid barrier and start working immediately to reduce those fine lines and wrinkles into the skin. These are before and after. So this was a 12-week clinical trial. So they used the product twice daily for 12 weeks. And this is on a crow's feet. One of my favorite photos, you can definitely even see not only are the wrinkles depth minimized, but some of the wrinkles altogether are completely not visible to the naked eye anymore, which is extremely impressive after 12 weeks use. And then we have our before and afters of our forehead. So this is, once again, twice daily use for 12 weeks. You really see, especially in that middle forehead, how much softer those fine lines and wrinkles are, to the point where some of them you can't even see by the naked eye anymore. So very, very, very impressive clinical photos that we have taken with the Exlinea Pro. These photos are always available for any of our accounts to use in that treatment room to really be able to show any of our patients how quickly these changes will take effect into the skin. And then we're going to move on to our questions portion. So I would love to hear from you guys after listening to the presentation today. Any questions that you have coming up. I'm sure I do see a few Q&As in our chat, so I'm very happy to come forward and answer any questions that you guys have.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kelly. I always say I learned so much as well alongside our participants. So I love the extra training I get.
Yes.
Okay, we do have a lot of really good questions and we still have some coming in. So I think that as I answer, I think I'll get a few more that come in as well. So really exciting to see. So let's see here. We actually have had this question a couple of times. So both Hollis and Diane have asked if can you use peptides in combination with retinoids, AHAs, BHAs, or kind of an extended version of that? Are there any products that are incompatible with peptides?
There's really no products that are incompatible with peptides, except if we're talking about copper peptides. So copper peptides, and specifically CoQ10, don't like each other. That is the only one that has documented that they don't like each other. Other than that, any of the peptides that we're using in our PCA products are very compatible. I personally mix everything together. I like to think of myself as a little mixologist. So every morning I am mixing my vitamin B3 brightening serum from PCA with my Exlinea Pro and my vitamin C every single morning to give my skin the best effects ever. So I actually mix everything together and apply it at once, which with PCA specifically is something you can do. So you're not going through multiple different steps in your skincare regime. You can mix them all.
I think that's a really, really good tip. If you can mix your products together, it's a really good practice to get into, because then you actually don't use as much product as well. You don't find yourself overusing as well. Me personally.
And I'm a frugal soul.
This next question kind of rolls right into that. Amber asked if you can use Exlinea Pro and Total Strength Serum together.
Absolutely, because Total Strength is going to boost that collagen elasticity, where Exlinea Pro is going to have those neuro effects. So you actually want to use both of them together, would make the most amount of sense. As women, we age in multiple different ways, and we always have to hit that aging from multiple different aspects. That's why you need your in-office treatments, you need your at-home skincare products, and you want to be fighting those signs of aging from every possible way. So I think those two go great hand in hand together. I actually use my Total Strength at night with my Exlinea Pro. That's my nighttime routine.
Awesome. Let's see here. Henrietta asked if you could briefly explain the difference between peptides and retinols.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So retinol is a derivative of vitamin A. So what retinol is going to do is it's actually retinoic acid is what the active version on our skin is. So retinol converts into retinoic acid. So think of that, for lack of a better term, as a little mini chemical peel you're giving yourself every day. It's going to help that cellular turnover that slows down as we age. So we're making those bad, dead, dull skin that maybe has pigmentation or has been stretched out from all that wrinkle movement. We're getting rid of that bad stuff, creating new, while putting the peptides in there that are going to create good collagen, elastin, or have those neuropeptide benefits to them, which is reducing the muscle. So once again, ingredients you want to use together. I think retinol is the #1 anti-aging ingredient every single person should be on. If you're not on an SPF, a retinol, and a vitamin C, you are doing your skin a disservice. Put those on every single day. And the peptides just help it work even better.
A couple of questions specifically about Exlinea Pro. Is it safe to use around the eyes?
That's what I do. I'm very brutally honest with people. A lot of things give me contact dermatitis on my eyelids. Both Exlinea Legacy and Exlinea Pro are one of the few things I can actually use safely in my eye area without creating an adverse reaction.
And Patty would like confirmation if the before and after pictures that you showed were for Exlinea Pro or the original Exlinea.
Exlinea Pro.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Let's see what else here. Toggling between.
Even though the regular Exlinea did have great results around the crow's feet, just saying, that's what I used every day before Exlinea Pro came out.
Let's see here.
And for turning 40 next year, I'm doing a pretty good job.
That's fabulous. Welcome to the 40s club, by the way.
Yes.
Let's see here. What peptides are best for discoloration or age spots?
So the best peptides for, well, that's hard because they all are, except for the neuropeptides. So when we're talking total strength and rejuvenating serum, because they're creating new collagen elasticity, it's going to help get rid of that bad pigmented skin. But really, with pigmented skin, you still want to have them be on that retinol. We want that cellular turnover to get rid of the current pigmented skin, while then preventing new pigmented skin with the peptides. So we still need that cellular turnover for it to happen.
This is a question kind of from me, actually, okay. But if you had a patient who was looking to treat discoloration and they were using Pigment Gel Pro, what would be the peptide serum of choice that you would ask them to combo with?
Probably rejuvenating serum. And I would say that because the active ingredients, not only the peptides, but there's so many antioxidants in there. So when you're being exposed to that oxidation, can create that melanin stimulating hormone that then creates our pigmentation. So I want antioxidants on there to stop new pigmentation from forming, while my Pigment Gel Pro is lightening up the current damage that's in my skin and also helping to stop new pigmentation from forming.
Perfect. Let's see here. Make sure I got all of the questions. Let's see. Laura has, and her question just came in. So Laura, if we don't get this answered exactly correct, go ahead and let us know in the Q&A. But for those that have had cancer, can the stem cell products be used also? Is there a difference between stem cells and plant stem cells?
There is a difference between stem cells and plant stem cells. At PCA, we use 100% plant stem cells because true stem cells are actually from some sort of a human aspect, let's say. I'm trying to think of a proper word to say. It's a human aspect. So we have a live skin tissue donation that was made, and we created technology around that. There is no scientific data that shows that stem cells or plant stem cells can have any effect on cancer. It is always something, though, that you want to discuss with your primary care physician. I am definitely not a medical personnel. I cannot give you medical advice. Everything should be approved by your physician. But that is the big difference between plant stem cells and stem cells. So plant stem cells are 100% plant-based. With that being said, everything with PCA is 100% plant-based except for honey. We have honey in 4 of our skincare products, and that is the only animal derivative that we use at PCA.
Brenda had a great question. Are any of the PCA peptide products useful for the neck?
Yes, I love Total Strength for the neck. Total Strength because it's so skin strengthening. That skin around our neck area is so delicate. It is the first place we age. We like to say, just like around our eyes is the first place that we age. That's because both of our eye and neck skin is so much thinner and more delicate. So yes, you can use Total Strength, but I actually really love Exlinea Pro because Exlinea Pro is going to help thicken that area. That's going to thin out with age. You're going to see that thinning in your neck around your eyes first. So I think Exlinea is a little bit more with that Total Strength is going to boost that collagen production.
Freda wanted just some clarification on usage of copper peptides with CoQ10. If she's using CoQ10, would she use like Total Strength serum on a different day, or can she use one in the AM and one in the PM?
AM, PM.
Okay. And then does Exlinea Pro have copper peptides as well?
No, none of our products have copper peptides.
Perfect. These are such great questions.
I love them.
I love this. I actually think we got them all.
That's amazing.
Okay. So let me just check the other chat just to make sure that I just want to make sure because these questions have just been so fantastic. It's such great information. Okay. Yep. We got them all answered.
Perfect.
Oh, wait, one more question. Sorry, it just came in. Let's see here. It's so fun when people ask questions. Pat, we can take that question offline. Kelly works for PCA SKIN, so she can't comment on another brand right now.
Don't get me in trouble, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, so with that being said, I want to thank Kelly for her time this evening, and I do want to let all of our participants and anybody viewing this after the presentation know that if they have any additional questions about PCA or peptides or any other skincare product, that we have an amazing customer service department at Lovely Skin who can answer any of those questions. And you can send your questions to customercare@lovelyskin.com, and they're happy to chat back and forth all day with you regarding skincare questions and concerns. Before we say goodbye to Kelly, I do want to let you know that we have a special offer that goes along with this presentation. So Lovely Skin will be running 20% off all PCA skins through 11:59 Central Standard Time on October 10th. And my moderator, Ashley, is going to put the link and the promo code in the chat for you, but it is PCA PEP20 is the code. But again, that's 20% off all PCA skin purchases through October 10th. Kelly, it has been a pleasure, and thank you so much for teaching us all a little bit more, actually a lot more about peptides. And I hope that everybody found this information useful and maybe makes reading an ingredient label on the back of your bottles just a little bit easier.
Thank you so much, Chrissy, for having me. I always enjoy doing these master classes with you. I look forward to doing more in the future with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.